Hello, Sense of Things. It's Jeff and Ron here once again with another episode of The Sense of Things. Today's show, we're going to focus a little bit on some kind of or some predictions in the market that Ron's looked up. He's got a couple of Halloween facts for us because once again, it is Halloween week here in the world. So stay tuned. We'll be right back in just a second. Hey, everybody, it's Jeff and Ron here once again with The Sense of Things. And Ron, how are you, friend?
Good morning. Doing well. Loving the weather. I know you're a weather nerd. It's all good. Looking forward to the holiday season. I love the holiday season. Everybody's smiling. We got good weather here in Arizona. So looking forward to it.
I'm moving to Arizona, dude. It's freaking hot in Texas. That's all I can say.
What's an open invite?
It is brutal and humid here in Texas, and it's humid, and we haven't had any rain for 57 or 58 days straight. Just absolutely nuts. October is usually our rainiest month, and it was not rainy and the hottest month ever in history. So read into it however you want. I know those of you that think it's global warming. I just think it's Texas. And it does what it does.
Bigger and better in Texas, right?
I'm liking Arizona weather though, 60 degrees. So that's
in the morning, afternoons now it's mid-late 70s, low 80s, very single digit, low double digit humidity. It's wonderful.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, that kills me, but
big time golf season here.
Yeah, nice. All right, man. You're gonna run the show today, so tell us what we got.
All right. So let's start off with some fun stuff. We did the mug shots last year. This year, this is there's some really good work uniforms for
the cold
for Halloween. So this is caller level 500 cold calling. And if you don't know how call centers work, you got level 1, 2, and 3. Level 1 are always the neophytes on the phone. So here's your rock star cold caller with a dramatic headset, a standing desk, and he's gonna lock in, baby. He's ready to go. He's ready to go.
It.
One size fits most.
The lamest costume ever. I love it.
You got a big noggin. You might need an extender on it.
Yeah. Oh no. I can't buy a hat.
Sure. So here we go. So that's our cold caller. Let's move on to our unhinged social media manager. There she is, ladies and gentlemen. She's got the meme library folder ready to go. She's got a full 512 gigabyte phone storage. And of course, she's got her portable charger for the permanent 2% battery. That's what we have, folks, because they're always charging, because they're always on the phone and their eyes never look up. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our unhinged social media manager.
I love it.
There she is. One size fits most. You and I may be able to do the phone.
Yeah. I want my hair done like that, though.
I think you look cute. Crystal would love that on you. I'm a man bun guy. What can I tell you?
There you go.
I want to look like a samurai. I want to get out my katana. You didn't think I knew what a katana was, did you?
All right. I didn't say you didn't know what a katana was.
All right. And our last one is, it's Brian from Legal. There he is, ladies and gentlemen. He's got a bunch of suits. They're all 50 shades of black. There they are. He's got a Scales of Justice desk accessory. And of course, he's got a private social media account. There he is.
And the stop sign.
You could be Brian from Legal with an official stop sign for you to walk around. You choose your shade of black. Get it today.
This could also be a financial compliance officer too. So the sales prevention department.
Only in brokered scumbag offices. Yes.
That's true. That is true.
And that looks like the face with Brian, that would be that person.
That is exactly right.
He's sitting there in the boiler room, looking out the window at the call center. There he is, holding up his green and red sign, twisting it around.
And you could do a combo if you had the cold caller and him together. It could work perfectly. You could have a brokerage.
Brian from Legal is standing in front of his cubicle.
Yes. Perfect.
All you got to do, folks, is watch the movie Boiler Room from 99 or 2000 and The Wolf of Wall Street, and you'll know exactly what we're talking about in case you're slightly lost and don't get the
I
rest.
refuse to watch either movie. I've never seen either, have no interest in seeing them. So,
It's a good two tequila movie. What can I tell you?
yeah,
It'll tell you how things should not be done.
that is exactly right.
Right. I hear you. All right. Let's get into some serious stuff. So rather ironically, this just came out in the last couple of weeks. So David Costin, who's on all of the networks and writes some articles with Goldman Sachs, one of the most reputable firms on Wall Street. Rather ironically, you would think that some of them would be pumping up numbers, no matter who
Mm,
wins the election, things like that. But he's coming out saying, look, maybe we run a little too far too fast. And the AI story aside, there's a
mm,
good possibility that over the next 10 years, I don't even know how you could look out 10 months, that over the next 10 years, that we may have a nominal annualized growth of 3% a year.
mm,
And I find this quite shocking, even though I have been a bit pessimistic and a little bit of a bear on the market the last
mm,
couple of years. I think the next year and a half is going to be pretty good no matter who wins. But the next 10 years, 3% a year, people aren't going to like that, which only tells
yeah,
me, correct me if I'm wrong, that means people may find real returns in the bond market. Your thoughts?
mhm, yeah, yeah, and maybe that 60-40 balance portfolio comes back into the reality mode. It hasn't been for, geez,
A
what, 5-6 years now?
couple of years, definitely.
Yeah, and that had been the long term. I remember getting into this industry that the 60-40 mix was the standard thing, and I haven't been anywhere close to 40% in bonds for, God, probably 10 years back now, just because
Yeah, but don't forget too, in addition to the 40-60 rule, there was the 4% withdrawal rule that
yeah,
may have worked 30, 40 years ago, but that's been debunked today also.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
The two people that really developed that rule were PhDs, so people feel like they got alphabet soup after their name, but has to work. The whole idea is past results are not indicative of future returns. So give
Mhm.
me a break.
Yep, I'm with you. I'm
I
with
hear
you.
you. Let's keep going. The other thing that he was talking about, I just put it here. You guys could look all this up. I got this off of LinkedIn. Basically, this is always posted to all social media platforms, but it's not necessarily the stock price or the equity price, right? EPS, earnings per share. Earnings is the mother's milk of true valuation
Mhm,
of assets. I don't care. Great, your revenue's growing at 3%, or excuse me, at 30%, but you're losing $1.5 billion a year. That's great for a startup or a unicorn kind of company, right?
yeah.
But for an established company, that's not going to work for future stock prices.
No,
So I think what he's looking at here, and this makes no sense, he's looking at the trajectory of EPS going up but returns normalizing at 3%. And if you
mm,
think about it, if we're looking at a 2% inflation number, that's not real good.
no,
Was that
and I
good
don't
grammar
even
or
really
bad
get
grammar?
I honestly don't like his I don't get the chart anyhow, so it doesn't make any sense to me, and, whatever. Most of these guys that try and do these long-term forecasts, I'm like, the problem is nobody's gonna remember you made this stupid ass forecast in 10 years from now. So
Correct.
you can say whatever the hell you want to today, but nobody's gonna remember how wrong you were. And there's always a market for people that are just absolute morons about the market. Somehow Nuriel El Rabini has kept his job for, as long as I can
Dr.
remember.
Doom.
Yeah. Yeah. Dr. Doom. I'm like, the market's going to go down. Yeah, it will eventually, you idiot. But if I'd have listened to you, I would have made no money for the last 35 years.
Look, there's four guys out there. Norio Robini is one of them. Another one is Mark Faber, if you remember him, the German guy who always just says, keep buying gold. He's only been,
Yeah.
in the last 12 years, he's only been right in the last year. The
Yeah.
other two guys are Peter Schiff and Michael Pinto. These two guys are just perma bears, and maybe they're right every 3 to 5 years, but somehow they stay in business, they make money, and people give them money to invest for. I just think it's crazy.
The
Look,
one that I
it's
haven't
okay to be
heard from, and I don't
pessimistic.
even
You
know if
need
she's
people on
still
the other
alive,
side.
is, yeah, the one that I haven't heard from in a long time. I don't even know if she's still alive, or Elaine Garzarelli. That when we were
I
first,
don't know that name.
yeah, she was big back. She used to be on the old Lou Rukeyser show.
Oh,
And she was right one time in her entire life. She predicted the 1987 market crash, and she rode that puppy for as long as she possibly could and then just
Of
disappeared off the
course.
planet. And I don't even know if she's still alive. She may not even be alive anymore, but
Listen, out of the financial crisis in '08 and '09, there were a couple of people that I don't think anybody saw the end result as far as the depth of it, but many people saw that something was going to happen.
yeah,
And they rode that level of credibility for a while. Many of them started their own businesses and they were on TV every week and they all went away. They
yeah,
all went away.
they all
They're still
disappeared.
around and maybe in the back door or in the back office of some big office now, but that's what happens with a lot of them.
Well, the
Michael
funny thing
Murray's
is,
still
I
out there.
remember, yeah, I remember somebody was talking about that. It was like a commentator or something like this on CNBC, and he was talking about some of these, people that, oh, they called this, they called that, and he said, here's how I explain it. He goes, every time, whether any event that happens, you have a 50-50 shot of guessing which direction it's going to go. So if you guess it the first time, okay, you're in half the crowd. If you get it right again, you're now a pundit. If you get it right again, you're the guru that the market goes after. So that's three decisions in your entire career that
Right.
you got right, and you're now the guru about it. And Elaine Garzarelli is still alive. I haven't heard a word from her from ever. And the pictures I see of her were still with her big fuzzy
Maybe
hairdo from
maybe
the
she's
Lou
predicting the
Kaiser
next
show.
crisis.
Yep.
So before we get to the last slide here, I saw some great I mean, I'm an analytical weenie and I love charts and I love listening to people review them.
Mhm.
What people don't realize, don't hold me to this number because I actually think it's a little bit higher. On average, here's in the market during a calendar year, the market is up 70% of the time,
Mhm.
meaning 70% of the years it's an up market,
Sure.
whether it's a half or 1% or it's up 30%. It's up 70% of the time. And
Mhm.
we all saw coming out of COVID, right? There was 3 years in a row where we were up double digits. You
Yep.
had to have expected maybe a down year in 2022. Plus, it's the second year of a presidential year, which is typically a down year. So if you just
Mhm.
look at cycles, you got to expect this stuff,
Sure.
right? So it's just a matter of setting expectations. But overall, this is where that theory comes into play. Just stay invested. All
Yep.
right. So
Absolutely.
talking about staying invested, uh, research firm 314, you could look them up. They got some really good stuff out there. I'm not a subscriber, but I peeled some of this stuff off of social media. I know it's a little tough to read. You could freeze the screen and read the report or go on to LinkedIn or X and download it yourself. But the two founders of the company are really bright. I've seen them on podcasts. I've seen them on TV, really
Mhm.
bright. And they're talking about a 7,000 S&P by the end of 2026. I don't disagree. The only thing that I may take umbrage with is they're talking by the end of 2026, which is the second year of a new presidential election year. We'll have to see. One president wants to lower interest rates so far. We may get a huge lift in the economy, but we may burn out too. On the other one, maybe isn't business friendly. We're not going there, but my whole
Yeah.
point is there's a lot of unknowns in year two with a president in a term presidential term,
Yep.
mainly because the first year is the prior administration, and it takes 6 months to a year to basically try and get any kind of an agenda through Congress.
Mhm.
That's why in 2008, that's why it took over a year to get the new tax thing done in 2018, because it had to get through the sausage factory. It's
Yeah.
going to be the same thing again because the 2018 tax cuts expire the end of next year. So they have to get that going, or the 2018 sunsets and the old numbers revert back.
Mhm.
So we'll have to see what happens. But I thought this was interesting. What are some of your thoughts?
I agree with you. And I think we're in for probably a pretty good Q4. History says that it doesn't matter who wins because we're roughly or half split between Republicans and Democrats with some independents in there. And at least half the country is going to think the world is going to be wonderful next Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. Who knows when they count
I think it's going
everything?
to take longer.
Yeah, I don't know. The good part I think about this time, I was listening to the news this morning, and one of the kind of normal attorney pundits that was on there. She's like, I'm really excited that a lot of the legal challenges are going on now instead of waiting until after the election. And then it's all this, we don't really know what's going on. And we're people voting who weren't supposed to vote and all that. So a lot of those legal challenges hopefully are going on now, getting them out of the way so that, okay, we get to election night, whoever wins, and we don't have to go like we have the last several elections. We don't have to go 6 months of legal challenges afterwards and nothing ever happens out of it.
Cool.
I think the good part is hopefully we have a good solid election where there's not a lot of questions and we can move on and half the country is going to be happy and half won't be. So typically the market's going to go up anyhow at this point.
Well, not only that, but it's just the certainty. All right.
Yeah.
For better, for worse, whatever you think, we know who's
Yep.
going to be there for the next 4 years. We know the agenda. So let's invest in what we think is appropriate. So
That's
yeah, money
precisely
will
correct.
flow out. I heard there was like 6.7 million in money markets and cash
Yeah.
equivalents. That will find its way, at least some of that will find its way to the market after the election, no doubt.
Yeah. And you've seen it with gold and everything else. Gold's down a little bit today from where it's been, but it's been ridiculously running like crazy for the last 3 to 4 months.
I will say the next two podcasts are going to be interesting because it'll be post-election
Yep.
and post-employment report. A lot of good stuff going into the end of the year. And certainly we're going to have a mid-December market outlook for 2025 for everybody. We'll do a special episode for that and look at where our predictions were for this year
Yeah.
and some for next year.
I think we were both wildly pessimistic in comparison to
Hey, better and exceed our expectation than below. So
that's
just saying.
precisely correct. Yeah, I'm right there with you. So, folks, as always, we do these shows for you. So please make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you give us an upvote and please ask questions. Love to answer those. And we will see you guys back here the next time post election.